Hey, Scott Jarden here again. And if you're watching this live, it's the afternoon. If you're not watching it live, you're watching a replay, and it could be anytime, anywhere. Could be a month from now, a couple days from now. But thank you very much for tuning back in. This is the Bullen Broadcast Studio, and this is the Bullen Virtual Show that we've been streaming live starting yesterday. We've got a couple more today, a couple more shows today, and then all day Friday, and then from that point on, you can watch the replays. But thank you very much for tuning in. We have a very interesting subject coming up now with Jack Collins, who, if you've tuned into some of the earlier streams today and yesterday, Jack has a wealth of information. So I'm going to hand it off to Jack to talk about BYOB, and that's not necessarily bring your own beer. Or booze.
But it should be bring your own beer.
Yes.
Thanks, Scott. I know this is one of your favorite parts of our business model, and that is our private branding operations. And BYOB is really an acronym for Be Your Own Brand. And as my headline slide here says, make more money with your own chemical brand. There surely are a lot more advantages than just revenue enhancement and margin enhancement, but we'll get into all of them on the next following slides. So what happens when you're only selling the same products that all your competition has? Right now with different levels of distribution and redistribution, just about any one of your competitors can sell probably anything that you are selling, even if they're not a direct distributor. What happens then is, there's no differentiation between your competition, obviously. It makes selling much more difficult and challenging. You're surely going to have issues trying to compete, because then the only differentiator becomes price in many cases, and margin erosion is a big part of competition today when you're selling the same stuff. And hey, if your customer doesn't like you, he can just go, hey, I can buy that product down the street. So it's much easier for them to go elsewhere to buy the products. And it surely reduces the value of all your marketing and selling time and effort. So what we want to do is talk to you about creating your own brand. And obviously the Bullen Companies has a number of brands that we market under. But there's a lot. I want to talk about why this is important in relation to what I just shared. Obviously, you can make your company look like a big player in the market. If you, look at that company, he's got his own chemical brand. He must be making it in the back room. No, but a lot of organizations today are actually marketing products under a brand, whether it's their company name and the actual branding of the products or another brand. I've been involved in both wholesaling and manufacturing in the private branding side. I've seen some people doing it very well, some people not, and some people just kind of doing it a little half-arsed, to be honest with you. But you can prevent this issue with the margin erosion. So you basically have revenue enhancement there because of that. You create a barrier to losing business. And as a salesperson and a sales trainer, I always talk about how you need to promote the differentiation of what you are presenting and selling. And if you have your own brand, differentiation is automatic, because you are selling different stuff than your competitors. It may still be glass cleaner, but because it has a different name on it, it's different inherently. So we'll get into that a little bit further. So why the Bullen Companies? Well, I'll tell you right off, as one of my lines there on this slide states, 50% of our business is actually from private branding products and programs. So along with all the other stuff we're selling, we spend a lot of time on these types of products. You can use our brands and products, strengths in your own products. Basically take an Airx brand, create it under your own brand. And we are experts at private branding. I want to also comment on the fact that we are not just a label company. I'm going to stress that a couple of times. There's a lot of companies out there that we compete against in the private branding world that all they're really doing is slapping a different color label on a bottle. We are much more than that, and that's why I want to stress the fact that we're not just a labeling program. And we'll get into more of that as we go through these slides. So this is a little bit about who we are. obviously you have our current, it's kind of hard to slide to see, but we have our current customers. Then we have which are usually most cases janitorial cleaning type suppliers. Then we have these non-traditional channels. I do some business outside the Jan San channel with some industries that, and some industrial suppliers, for example, that we do private branding, all of their chemicals. But the opportunities for chemical formulation and products outside of the normal Jansan world are significant. And then you get down into the BYOB part of the program, which is obviously what we are going to be focusing on during this presentation. So the next slide, we'll get into that a little bit more. So again, I'm going to stress, create a brand, not just a new label. That's pretty easy to do, creating new labels. Hey, we're pretty good at that. But I want you to look at branding as a concept, and that involves actually your whole company. It's holistic. So a brand obviously implies image. And if there's anything we want to do is enhance what image you have, or at least, create it and expand it into a different area. Now, how do you do that? Well, obviously, how the label looks is important. I've done a lot of consulting with my current customers on writing and graphics and all that to make, because obviously the better the label looks, the better you look as a company. The product name is important. Let's get into the product performance is important. So I call this the value line. And the value line is that line between product performance and price, and the perception of the customer and the value that he gets from that. Bullen makes a lot of very expensive products that perform very, very well. Our image tends to be in the marketplace very, very high for that reason. But you don't have to always do that. And I do have companies out there, and even Bullen does this, have brands which have low performance products, but very low pricing. All right. Because there are those customers out there that's how they want to buy. That's how they want to get their products. So, but I'm always one, if you're going to do that, create two brands, create the low price brand, similar to what Bullen has done with our own strategy, and then have the high performance products with maybe a higher pricing for the products, which are going to have your name and your company brand name right attached to it. I also suggest, and many companies do this already, extend your brand across many product categories. Many of the companies I do talk to about private branding now, they may have private brands already on some of their disposables, their liner products or paper products, food service disposables, etc. But they haven't done chemicals, and there's various reasons for that. But we have now an opportunity to talk to those customers in our program. So as we go into the next slide, you're gonna why Bullen? I mean, what do we do different than our competitors that offer private labeling programs? Well, one couple of things. More than a couple of things. Custom formulations or our own formulations, and there's a list we can show you. There's thousands of formulations we have that, products that you would never think that we would manufacture, and, coolants for motorcycles, and heavy degreasers, and, deodorizing chemicals. And, we can make, colors look different. We can make the scent look different, and totally customize it to what you want to do. One of the things we do very well is laboratory cloning of your own products. If you have a product you're buying from a competitor or even another private brand, we can take that product, send it down to our lab. Our chemists will sit there and tear it apart and basically re-engineer that formula into one of ours. And in some cases, even make it better, as I've experienced with some of my clients in the last few years. So keep that in mind. Label design. Yeah, we aren't just the label guy, but we are really good at label design and production of labels. We've got new equipment recently in the last couple of years, so we've upgraded our capabilities on labeling. Have a lot of options there. And the other part about label has to do with all the stuff that's on the backside of the label. It has a little fine print. To making sure that your labels are in compliance with whatever regulatory requirements may have in your state or the federal government. So we'll make sure that all fits. Packaging options. So let's go back to that previous slide, please. Packaging options are all in this book. All right, so there's lots of stuff there. We can put these products in anything. We have a new, actually it's not new, but we're expanding our production on our VersaPack bag-in-a-box products. And then you get into marketing materials and sales support. That would be me and the rest of my sales staff. We'll help you actually sell your products. And that's why I like that last line there. We are more than just a bottler, because we're going to help you make this whole program successful. So if we move down to that slide that you had up previously, Will. So the other thing I want to comment is, hey, that's one thing to get it all set up. Then what happens? Well, you give us an order. Well, it doesn't have to be a big order either, because we actually compare to our competition at very low minimums. So the average is about roughly a half a pallet of product, depending on the packaging put up. That's not a lot for, basically that's 18 cases of 4x1 gallon products. Turnaround is very fast. I talk to my competitors. They're getting out, sometimes 4 to 6 week lead times. We're less than, you average about 2 weeks. So that's really quick turnaround. So it helps your turn as well as your inventory management. Freight-free programs, if interested. We can, as I do this right now for some of my larger private brand customers, drop ship to their customers all over the country, large orders. So, saves you on freight. You want it, if you're a big user and you're interested in a purchase incentive program, we can surely help you out there. What I want to point out is, from the president of the company, Scott Jarden, who began this presentation, down to our graphic designers, our general manager, everybody here is really inputted to your success, and that goes from our service staff. So we're here to help you win, basically. So when we get into the next couple slides, we'll show you some of basically the process. I get this question a lot, particularly talking to a customer. How long does it take if I tell you we want to do this? Well, it depends on, every customer is different. But, it can, generally speaking, and I'm not going to go through each one of those little bullets on that slide, but, you're talking probably anywhere from a 3 to 6 week timeline from beginning of the process to the end of the process, and depends on the number of products, et cetera. That kind of gives you a timeline of how it all takes. And we move on to examples of some of the labels we do. Actually, the one in the lower right is one of my customers' labels, but gives you an idea of the quality of the labeling and what we're doing. You'll see the HMIS labels there, and then a couple of other examples. So I just want to surmise by, just like we created our own brand for private branding, BYOB, we want you to do the same thing with your chemicals in your warehouse. So thank you very much. And if you want additional information on our private branding program, you can reach out to myself or reach out to the Bullen sales department. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, thanks very much, Jack. In case those of you that haven't seen that packaging guide that Jack referred to, we have everything from 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 16 ounce, 32 ounce, 64 ounce gallons. We have gallon F styles, gallon rounds. We have bag-in-a-box. We have 5-gallon pails and drums and totes. So we have any size imaginable as far as creating that brand for you under BYOB. So thanks a lot for tuning in for this session. We'll be talking about VersaPack coming up next if you're listening in live, which is the bag-in-a-box package. So thanks a lot very much, Jack, for the hard work you've done today with your presentations, and everybody's tuned in. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.